Alright everybody, this is Manticore here, coming to you live from Vanilla Minecraft 1.16.2. We are back today on how to build a Minecraft house, part 2. Today we're going to be looking at doing L-shaped houses, along with doing complex roofs. Yesterday we covered the very basics of how to build a Minecraft house. So if you do need that tutorial, go ahead and check out the previous video. But as for today, we are going to get started. So as you can see, we have a nice little L-shaped style house over here. And it's a little bit wide on one end, not a complete L, but it gets the job done. So as you can see, I started out with the frame, and we're going to go ahead and build it up the exact same way that we did the second house in the first video. So after doing the frame, we're going to start out with laying down some cobblestone. Since this does happen to be evenly separated, I'm going to go ahead and leave 2 spaces here and make this a double door, so that way it's still fairly centered. Wrapping around, we're going to go ahead and fill out that cobblestone all the way around. And as you get more comfortable building up these frames, you can decide whether or not you want to do inner support beams. In this case, I think I'll go ahead and throw it in there just in case. So it looks like that. Essentially it connects 2 points across from each other. And I don't think we're going to do one here just because that would make that section a little too small. So dropping back down, we're going to go ahead and start adding the wall. Now, as we build, I didn't mention it before, but on the other buildings, you can use whatever you want for the floorboards. You can do actual boards, you can do oak or birch, or you can even do cobblestone, depending on what you want to do. But I'm not really focusing on the interiors for this part. Alright, so as we come around here, we're going to want to look for good spots for windows. In this case, I think this is a pretty good location. Now, since it's kind of a little bit of a view, you can see a lake over there, and kind of can see the little pumpkin patch over there. I'm going to make it a larger window, which is going to be a 3x2. Then we're going to go ahead and fill up this side, because we don't want too many windows. And this one doesn't really have a view, so there's not much point in adding a window back here. Alright, so now that we have all that set up, I'm going to go ahead and add those doors. Depending on which way you set them, you can either set them on the inside or you can set them on the outside. I usually bounce between these depending on what I'm wanting with my house. As you can see with this outer door, it makes it easier for adding paths that lead up to it, because then you can't see this grass block underneath. Since the doors do sit on there, you can't turn that into a path block, which is unfortunate. But otherwise, if you're doing just a regular road, I do think that it tends to look a little bit better with the doors on the inside of the building. So we're going to go ahead and do that for now. Now moving up here to the upper floor where we built the frame for the roof, we're going to go ahead and do another step style frame. Now, as you can see here, it is even, as I mentioned in the last video. That's not a problem. We can just lay the steps up to each other. With L-shaped buildings, the roofs can get a little more complex, but they really aren't too bad. So we're just going to go ahead and do it out to here, where the other part of the house goes to for now. And building this all up. If you're doing this in survival, what you can do is build a pillar of dirt in order to get up here. It's cheap and easy to remove once you are done with it. And as you're building, if you do have a larger frame on the inside, what you can do is you can actually go ahead and pop these out and have a little extra window up there. And once we have a light source on the inside, that'll be kind of neat. Go ahead and throw the windows in over here too while we're at it. Okay, now going back to this roof, we're going to go ahead and finish this other side as well, and then we're going to add the overhangs. Okay, so this actually goes only to about here, so I'm going to leave this part empty for now. Then I'm going to drop down here and add those overhangs, including the ones on the front. It'll look just about like that. And then we're going to add them on the bottom as well. Again, this just makes it look a little more slanted on both sides, and it doesn't look so cubey. That's a word, right? Cubey? Now wrapping back around to here, this is where things get a little bit different than the houses that we did before. Since I added an extra layer, I'm just going to take that off here real quick while we're working. And since that side does run all the way along, it gets a little more confusing, so we're just going to start over here for now. That should make things a little more obvious. So again, we're going to go up with that steepled triangular shape for the roof frame. And then we're just going to go ahead and add the roof stairs all the way along here. How'd that happen? Alright. So up like that, and we're going to use the typical odd style for building up roofs, which is just the half slab on the top block, building all the way through, all the way up to there. And now we can start to see this taking shape. We're going to go ahead and mirror that triangular area that we did on the opposite side. And so it should look just about like that, along with a nice sunset in the background if you're lucky. Okay, so wrapping this around here, we're actually going to face this way, and this will give the stairs a little bit of a turn. And then coming down to here, we're going to go ahead and add that overhang as well. And we're just going to keep doing that, layering it, so that it does wrap around and have that curved shape to it. That way it looks like everything blends together. I'm just going to do, oh, that doesn't work as well, but if we take that one away, because generally this would be a part of the roof as well, then add that like so. Everything lines up. And then we'll take this forward, connect that, and if we back up here for just a moment, you can see it's starting to take shape. So we'll go ahead and add this side as well so that everything does look complete, at least before we add the half slabs. And we're adding them underneath as well. And then we'll go ahead and bring this out to just about there. This is going to be a little bit different since this was slightly shorter. It's not quite as high as that front piece, but we can still make that work. So building up this side now, we'll do the same thing where we bring it over to the section that connects and makes a little corner. We'll do this all the way around. And again, if you are doing this in survival, you will need a lot of supplies, so go ahead and if you're lucky, you're working with a buddy and they can just chop down all the trees for you and you can get a little bit of teamwork in there. It makes things go a little faster. We'll do that. Okay, and we'll leave it just like that for now while we add the overhang on this side, and then we'll add the half slabs. As you get used to building these roofs, you can really do this in whatever order you're most comfortable with. but at this point in time, since I am in creative, it's just a little bit easier to get all the stairs out of the way first. Okay, so back up here, we're going to go ahead and land and take out our spruce slab once again. And we're just going to go ahead and bring this all the way across. Just like that. Now, as you can see here, this is just a half block higher since, as I mentioned, it's an even number, so it doesn't quite add up. But what we're going to do is just add those stairs. And it gives us just a little bit of a peek. Really, you can do it like this, or you can even do it back to back like it was running before. And there's not a huge difference, but overall, I think it does still look pretty great. So there we go. We do have our L-style house, and the roof looks fairly natural, not too bad. And now I want to go ahead and discuss a few more types of roofs with you guys. So if we come over to here, and really quick, I'm going to get rid of this weather because, let's be honest, it doesn't make for great video quality. Alright, we have quite a little bit of a town coming along, don't we? So now I think right down here, I'm just going to add in a little bit of dirt to give us more room to work with. And then we're just going to go ahead and make a real small house because I want to show you guys a different style of roof that's not quite as high and pointed, but it is still very easy to make. Okay, so coming along here, we're going to go ahead and do just a smaller house right about here. And again, we are starting with that frame of 3 high, and then the 4th block is the beams. And this is kind of just a little bit of an extra block, but we can throw some dirt in there and make it all even. Okay, so now this next type of roof that I want to show you guys, it looks a little bit better on wider houses, and in situations like maybe that house it could have been done. But so what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and just add in a few things really quick here. And even though it is an even number, it's a pretty small build, so I think I will stick with just a 1 door on this. It's not a very grand house at all. One of the rules that I typically follow when I'm adding walls and deciding where windows will go is I always make sure that it's not directly next to one of these corner beams, so I know for a fact that I can put wood in there. Now, just do that, and that makes a nice little window. And we'll add a back wall. Okay, now for this roof style, instead of doing the typical triangle shape, pyramid style, whatever you want to call it, that I usually do, we're going to go ahead and actually do 2 in. So we'll do like that. So we have 2 away from the sides. And then up on this next ledge, we would do another 2 as well. So this is a pretty small example, and it's a little hard to tell what I'm talking about, but I'll show you guys down here really quick. So if this were a bigger building, and we were following the 2 away rule, then the beam would be about here along with that extra piece, and then it would go up and be 2 long, and then go up another 2 and be 2 long. So as you can see here, this is kind of what we have on top of the other house. Now, just to give you guys a better example, we're going to add another 2 and say that this outer beam would be right about here. So then up 2, over, and then another 2. So you should get the idea by now. Alright, just clearing that out really quick, and then if we go over to here, I'm actually going to need a full block of spruce planks. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a combination of regular blocks and half slabs. So right along the beam, we're going to start with the half slabs, and then go with the spruce planks up at where it steps up, and then another spruce planks, and another regular planks. Then we'll mirror that on the other side. And on the little overhang, I tend to do just another regular little half slab and bring it all the way around just like that. So then if we fill everything out, it'll look a little something like this. Now for adding the overhangs on this one, I tend to bring it out by one, and then since a stair obviously wouldn't look too great over there, we'll just do another half slab like that. And then up one, another half slab below it, 2 blocks, half slab, block, half slab, half slab, and then all the way across. So I'll go ahead and get this all laid out, and then I'll show you guys the results. So just like that, we have a shorter, not quite as sloped roof, and that can be good for smaller outer buildings or just to add a little bit of variation to the builds. Alright, now for this next build, we're going to go ahead and come up here onto this hill that overlooks the city, and as you can see behind me, I went ahead and built a little bit of a framed-in house already with a small second floor area, just as an example to show you guys some of the more complex roofs that you can do or situations that you might encounter. So as you can see behind me, we are at the lovely home of Edgar the Sheep in there, and we're going to go ahead and throw some roofs on this bad boy. Alright. Now over here we have the front entrance, and as you can see it comes out just ever so slightly, and again this is to add more depth to the build and just make it look more interesting. So we went ahead and went with the shorter, less sloped roofs for this one, like we did on the small building down there. And we're going to go ahead and start with this entrance piece. It's going to be exactly like the building that we did down there with the 2 in and then up. Except in this case it does stop on a half slab right here in the middle. It's not a very big roof at all. And we add those, and there we go. That was the easy part of this build. Now coming up to here, we have pretty much the same type of roof, and it's going to go back to here, except it's got a second floor that does jut up in the middle. It's pretty easy to build around. We're just going to build out to it, and rather than talking, I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys here. So just like that, we'll bring the roof all the way out to it until it's forced to stop by the wall. And then, even though this part does stop at the wall, the rest of it's going to go all the way back. And we do have a partial low frame here that matches with up there, so you can kind of see where everything is going to wind up. Okay, and there we have our lily sloped roof with this little part sticking out just below it. Now, if it didn't have this little upper second floor section, I would have liked to do this as just a regular sloped roof, so that way there's a little bit more wall behind this outer roof, and you can see the difference a little bit better, but it doesn't look too bad for what it is. Now we're going to go ahead and clear up this weather here. And I haven't put any frames on this one yet, any roof frames I mean, because there are 2 different ways that we can make this little build. Now, Without using any kind of frames, we can go ahead and just do something really simple with half slabs and full slabs again, going all the way around the roof. So that way it'll kind of come up like a spire. We'll do half slabs on the outer side along with half on the inner here. And then that'll go up to a regular full block. Or if you even wanted to, you could do half slabs still to save on resources and just layer them along the upper half of this. Although it's a little bit trickier to place. So now we're just going to go ahead and fill in that so we can place the half slabs on here a little bit easier. Now we can do it like that, but it does look a little flat. So another option when you reach a spire of 4 like this is you can do stairs. And so then that gives it a little bit more of a point, and it doesn't look too bad. Now another option entirely, if we remove this roof, is to add frames and have them all meet in the center. Personally, I like this option a little bit more, but I'll show you guys what I'm talking about here in just a moment. Okay, so now that we have a fresh start on this, we're going to go ahead and add that little bit of roof frame that I had mentioned before, and we're going to add it to all 4 sides. Now what this will do is it will cause it to have a little bit of a point in the center, and it makes it look not necessarily more castle-like, but, well, you'll see here in just a moment. So since we are following the regular 1-up rule, we're going to go ahead and use stairs for this. We're going to stick it out just a little bit like that, and then build it up, and build it up. Might make a little bit more sense if I do it like that so you can see it's pretty much just your typical frame where we throw these in underneath, except it's on all 4 sides. So we'll go ahead and repeat that. And if you are doing a build like this where it's got a second floor and you are all the way up here, it can be a little dangerous if you're in survival, so make sure you're being careful with that. Okay, then as you can see, they'll, sort of like with the L roof, they'll all meet right here in the center. Then we go around to the other side. Oops. And just like that, we have a little bit of a cross up here, but if you drop down, and I add the roof stairs on the bottom, it'll look a little bit better. That one's already done, and there we are. Now you have 2 options. You can either leave it like this, which does look pretty good in itself, or you can bring it down 1 more and do that. So this just gives it a little bit of a corner and gives it a little bit of flair. Another benefit to doing the roof in this style instead of the wrapped around is you can add a little bit of windows right in here. It probably doesn't need it since it does have these 2 down here as well. Ooh, that looks dangerous. But it's a little bit of extra detail that's good for these back sides that don't actually have windows. And when it's not stormy and rainy and nighttime, I'll go ahead and let a little bit more light into the room. And just like that, we've finished Edgar the Sheep's house. Alright everybody, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did like it, or if you learned something, I'd appreciate it if you hit that like button down below. And if you are looking for more videos like this on how to build different styles houses, or any other things that might include building in Minecraft, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because they'll be coming along shortly. I hope to see you in the next video, which will be how to build a Minecraft house part 3, exteriors and advanced building. Thanks guys, bye!